Good morning, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to wish all of you, all of our participants, a very warm welcome to 2023. I trust that you had a peaceful Christmas and a New Year break. This year is going to be an important and exciting one for AABN. After a difficult period navigating the initial devastating impact of COVID, the economies are more agile and prepared for the next phase of the pandemic. There is a great momentum to invest, innovate, and utilize opportunities that are being created through this time of significant change. AAB as a dynamic network of members with shared values has never been more important than today. It's easy to think that it's about the future, that this is something that we will do later. But I don't think so. I think we are talking about the now. And our guest speaker for today, Mr. S. Varadarajan, Vice President, Business Development, Lancetech Private Limited, is here to talk to us about a new start. The start of a new era, the sustainable era, and what it will take to lead in this era. Currently, the industrial sector accounts for approximately 30% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Of this, oil and gas, steel, cement, and chemicals together make up over 70% of these emissions. Energy efficiency improvements will only be able to reduce industrial emissions by around 27% by 2050, but growth in demand. Achieving low or zero emissions from industrial processes can be broadly categorized into switching from fossil fuels to biomass or hydrogen, electrification, and carbon capture and storage. Decarbonization of the industrial sector is particularly challenging at the moment owing to competitiveness issue and its inherent heterogeneity. With the exception of biomass usage in certain applications, currently all of these options are still in the concept phase, and there is an urgent need for the development of breakthrough process which can result in a step change in emission reduction. On its current course and speed, the industry could now be entering an era defined by intense competition, technology-led rapid supply response, investor skepticism, and increasing public and government pressure regarding environmental impact. The question of how to create value in the new normal is therefore fundamental. The industry will need to dig deep and tap into its proud history of bold structural moves, innovation, safe and profitable operations in the toughest conditions. The winners will be those that use this crisis to boldly reposition the portfolios and transform their operating modules. I have the pleasant duty of welcoming and introducing our guest speaker, Mr. S. Varadarajan, today on Innovating for a Carbon Smart Future and Interactive Business Networking webinar. You will be happy to note that today's speaker, Mr. S. Varadarajan, is among the galaxy of sparkling stars that our esteemed university has produced. We don't have to look outside for heroes. They are right amongst us here. He has proved that if you dream big and stay focused, you are not far away from becoming a star in whatever field you choose. Mr. S. Varadarajan graduated with a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering in 1979 from Annamalai University. He has 40 plus years unique experience in process industry for production of environmentally acceptable fuels and petrochemical intermediates, and has been involved from the basic engineering to commissioning, monitoring of almost all modern advanced refining technologies, including crude to chemicals, ethanol, coal to olefins, and propane dehydrogenation technologies. With design and technical services exposure, he is fully familiar with most of the refining process, product and byproduct specification, wastages and emissions, process economics, and has the ability to lead teams to optimize the same throughout his life cycle. He has been involved in projects for low sulfur fuels driven by regulations for many economically advanced countries like US, Canada, etc., and emerging regions like Latin America, China, and India. Actively participated in various projects to identify pathway to convert cost advantage alternative feedstocks such as coal, natural gas, refinery, off-gas, biomass, and petroleum coke to produce hydrogen and light olefins like ethylene and propylene. Not only familiar with the latest requirements of US's EPA, International Marine Organization specification for fuel oils and other European specifications for fuels, but can also lead teams to find solutions to develop concept, methods, tools to improve the margins of the process units by simultaneous optimization of process and energy requirements and implement them with consistently meeting stringent regulations. I've had the privilege of working closely with Mr. Varadarajan on a couple of debottlenecking projects carried out by my earlier employer Glitch in 1993 and 1995. It was the first incident that a crude tower was revamped with high capacity tray in a refinery in India. Also, the first full FCC main column pack tower revamp was also done during the time Mr. Varadarajan was heading technical services CPCL. With this combination of academic knowledge and practical know-how, he will take you through specific challenges and inventive ways to overcome them, be it technical, operational, or research. This webinar will address topic of current relevance and critical to building a profitable future. I'm not going to extend my speech because I would like him to take over. As we discuss different emerging views and innovations in the oil industry, the opportunities and challenges, I believe today is going to be a day of learning for each one of us. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Varadarajan.
Gopi, Mr. Vinod, the session has joined. Good morning, Vinod ji.
I will just give a small.
Good morning, Shri Kumar ji.
Good morning, sir. We have a elite team of refineries and oil and gas team available with you now.
Okay.
We have a guest from the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas today. Mr. Vinod Seshan, IAS, is the director of the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. Vinod Seshan is a 2008 batch Indian Administrative Service Officer of Assam cadre. Vinod Seshan is an engineer, is an engineering graduate majoring in electronics and communication engineering from Siddhaganga Institute of Technology. He has also done MA in public policy from Indira Gandhi National Open University. He joined Indian Administrative Service in 2008. Prior to that, he worked as a software engineer in HCL. He is the director of the board of Oil India Limited. Welcome, Vinod Seshan, to our forum, and may we request you to please say a few words and light up the proceedings before we hand over the floor to Mr. S. Varadarajan, our guest speaker for
today. Thank you, Shri Kumar ji. I hope everybody is able to see me and also hear me. Is the audio okay? So I have joined the Ministry of Petroleum in March last year, and I work as director in the exploration division. So we largely work with Oil India, ONGC, GAIL, and other companies even in the refinery sector, but if they are doing E&P, that is exploration and production. So the mandate of the division where I work is largely about promoting more exploration and incrementing India's production. As you all know, India imports about 85% of its crude. At least that's the number we officially say, but it's somewhere between 85 and 86, 88. Sometimes it goes down to 84 also. But largely 85% of our imports are essential, without which a large part of India would come to a standstill. Whatever green energy, green financing, whatever we are saying, all that is fine. But then the transition to a green economy is going to take time. That's the reality. And as far as gas is concerned, again, we are at about 50%. India is projecting itself as a gas economy. 50% of India's gas is only imported, 50% is produced nearly. So consequently, there is larger potential in India to produce gas. Now, the ministry, since I am effectively representing the ministry, but I work only in the exploration division, I would like to give a small overview of it and then stop, because today is a very, very short and I really don't know what is the background of this meeting. Mr. Kumar invited, so I just thought I should be present. We have been in the entire ecosystem of India in exploration is based on seismic data. So our country is divided into sedimentary basins, onshore and offshore. I'm sure because this is largely about oil and gas, I'm sure most of you are skilled in it. I don't have to really give anything on the basics. But nevertheless, on the onshore and offshore, the seismic data available with India is very, very less. Only about 9 or 10% of our total sedimentary basins are actually explored. And our national data repository, though it contains a lot of data, does not contain effective data which can represent the whole of India. Interestingly, Ganga, which is a very important river, and Kosi, River Satluj and all, which are like pre-Himalayan rivers. That is, even before the presence of Himalayas, these rivers existed. But we don't have a lot of data. We don't have any exploration presently being carried on in those regions. That is interesting enough to say that we probably have a lot of potential. It has also emerged that our Kerala Konkan basin and probably the western offshore possibly have a topology which is similar to oceanic, I would say oceanic topography, which is similar to Guyana. The geology of Guyana is probably matching. So there is a lot of interest which is now generating among the international oil energy majors to see if we can invest in India. So India is working out on a lot of policies, and you might have heard of regimes which are like NELP, which is called New Exploration and Licensing Regime in '97. Post which we came up with something called HELP, Hydrocarbon Exploration and Licensing Regime in 2016. And then now we also have isolated and small fields. It's called discovered small fields rounds. So the various regimes are there under which there are programs like Open Acreage Program, Discovered Small Fields Program. We also have CBM today, the coal bed methane. So significant amount of coal bed methane blocks are also on offer. You might have heard of Directorate General of Hydrocarbons, which is our regulatory cum technical agency. It is like a half regulator. We also have PNGRB, the Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board. So probably this is a small overview of what we do on a daily basis in the exploration division. The ministry also has a biofuels division, a refinery division. We also have a marketing division where a lot of blending related activities are going on in ethanol and all that biofuels. A significant amount of refining is carried out. India is probably one of the top 5 in the world today in refineries. We have huge refineries, one of the best refineries in the world. Pricing is a major challenge for the ministry. There's a lot of price wars in the oil and gas sector since time immemorial, and it continues to happen. We have a lot of international challenges now considering the Ukraine war. We are having a certain basket of prices on which pricings are done. So there are issues related to that. So amidst this geopolitical environment, it is very prudent that India secures its own energy security as priority, and has its foreign policy oriented towards purely securing its energy security first before doing anything else. So I think I will stop at this. I have spoken a little bit about exploration and given a very short overview about this. I probably next time I would like to give, if there's an opportunity to speak more about what we do in the ministry. So Mr. Srikumar has my number. So if anybody wants to contact us or you want any assistance, please feel free to reach out. I will share a photocopy of my card with Srikumarji, and then we can probably connect later on. I'm also available on LinkedIn. So if anybody wants to connect, thank you so much.
Thank you, Vinodji, for a short notice. You are able to pitch in and give us an introduction. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vinod. Thank you for joining us, Vinod. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Varadarajan, you can start, sir.
Okay, thank you. Can I get the presentation up? I will mute my video and have only the audio.
One second, sir. Let me give. One second.
While Gopi brings up the presentation, let me first
Yes, sir. Yes,
thank.
sir.
Take your time. Let me first thank you, everybody, for coming amongst your busy schedule, and Happy New Year to all of you. And Gopi had a very long introduction about me. I don't know how much it is true, but the honest fact is, I am a small kid in this whole industry, because it's completely a different industry together. So whatever I gain in the experience or in the refining and petrochemical sphere is completely of no relevance when we talk about this industry. In fact, this industry is the industry which is going to be the industry of the future, which is going to change the pollution to the products or the waste to value products. So, having said this, I retired from very active service in a licensing organization. Then I thought I will take my life easy. Then I started interacting with some of the education institutions like the IIT Madras. I used to go there on a part-time along with my ex-colleagues and friends. And the interesting thing which was told in that particular seminar, where you guys might have heard him or known him, there was a guy named Narsimhan, and he said the Lancetech is the only company which is having a carbon utilization. All are talking about carbon sequestering, carbon capture sequestering, but there is only one company which is carbon utilization company as of date, and who has really converted the carbon into useful products. Before I get going, first of all, I wanted to know whether I'm audible or is my voice clear, so that I want to have a validity check. Is it okay, Gopi?
It's okay, sir. It's okay, sir. It's clear, sir.
Great, thank you. So what you see, this particular industry, a lot of people have worked. I know even 45 years ago when I was a student, I used to see Dr. Nadarajan, N.M. Nadarajan working on these microbes. There was a lab or this thing next to our fourth year class where he used to develop various strains, and God knows at that time we were all wondering, what is he doing? Is he doing something? Or and also we are engineers. We are supposed to be engineers, and at that time we were studying to get our degree in engineering. But N.M. Nadarajan used to create a lot of strains, and he used to create so much. And in fact, nobody knows even what he's doing. And the one Mr. Dr. Murugesan, or whoever was a postgraduate student, he used to help me. So those days I used to wonder, what is he doing? Is it having any relationship, any significance, any this thing? So it was left, and I never bothered to look at it, what he did. And now given up, this IIT Madras person told me, yeah, this company is the company which has really brought the science into engineering and a technology. That's what you see, the one plant which is there, that's right now located in Europe. You know, the Europe is a place where they are closing the industry. And there's ArcelorMittal, a steel mill, has put a plant using this technology, and that's the proof of this technology. So that's the plant. And what is it this product is going to be used? That's the next part of this slide, which says it is there in all products. It's in all the household products, in all the products we use on the day-to-day life, that can be produced using the material which this bioprocess can produce as ethanol. And from ethanol, it can get into all these derivatives, the products which are used in day-to-day life. So the relevance of this technology, the company and the technology is, the technology is proved and the plants are coming up. Second thing, the products are of daily use. It is not a product which is going to be of a future use or not use or an obsolete product. So coming about this, the company as such, this company, like Mr. Dr. Nadarajan, Dr. Simpson, he was traveling on New Zealand, and he saw a steel mill emitting a lot of black smoke. And he's a biologist, or he's a zoologist actually. His strength area is in zoology, and he was the first fellow to think, how can I convert this waste into useful product? And that led to the new sphere of synthetic biology, they call, and that is the merger of the science and the engineering. It was done about 2005. It was not long ago. He dreamt about this and in 2005 and came back and started developing a strain. And that strain really converted the gases into useful product like ethanol. The first strain he developed was an ethanol. And so he thought, why can't I convert this into a industry process? Why I should use only on a small lab scale? So the revolutionary idea of using the biology to convert the pollution to product started from him, and he's the inventor of this company, and that's how this company has been surviving, and it has not only produced in a lab scale, but he saw to that. He went to the right engineers, right team of people to go to multiple, to convert these ideas into a plant. And today, these plants are available in multiple places and making thousands and tons of sustainable fuels and chemicals, and created a world-class scientific team under the synthetic biology. And the team is now currently located in many parts of the world. And to talk about, so as a team, they cracked seemingly impossible task of using biology to transform some of the waste gases from various plants, not just a refinery, a petrochemical, or a boiler, or a steel mill, any waste gas, and convert them into useful products like fuels and other chemicals. So it is the merger of the or the marriage of the science and the engineering. They have shown that the impossible things can happen by taking the waste carbon and transforming them into products we use every day. So when it comes to carbon, you guys might have heard a very inspiring speech from one of my industry colleagues in the last session, Dr. Partha Maitra, who spoke with a lot of commitment and conviction, how the carbon is going to go off and all those things. But this company, the one I am working for, is not a company which believes that carbon is a waste. We believe carbon is precious. We know carbon is diamond. The whole body is made of carbon. So we don't want to completely discard as a company a carbon. We want to put the carbon into a better utilization. With that motto, when Dr. Simpson formed this company, the other scientists and engineers joined hands with him, and we said, okay, carbon is today, if you see in the industry, the greenhouse gases are disturbing us. It is causing the global warming and all the other related environmental impacts. So we should do something about it, but we will not completely think of a scenario where there is no carbon. We will now think of or put ideas or really develop technologies how to effectively use carbon or recycle carbon or make products which are really useful, at the same time taking care of the greenhouse gas emissions and other pollution norms and other impact of it. Just one slide before, that is the carbon, the power. When you see today, most of the power is coming from fossil fuels, but the world has proved that the power can be carbon free because there are solar power, there are nuclear power, there are wind power. So there are so many forms, but still it is not very economical, but there are a lot of scientific advancements, technology developments, which can lead to tomorrow a power which can be carbon free. And also, even if you take the fuels, that is the next slide, where you can see the fuels also need carbon, because see, if you look at carbon, you can say, oh, carbon dioxide, greenhouse gas, 82% of the pollutant in the world is carbon dioxide. So we have to find a technology to completely eliminate carbon. No, See, carbon has been used for centuries. It is not a fuel of today. Even if you give India, even if for example, we have been using for centuries carbon in different forms, whether it is in a biomass or it is in the fossil fuel, we have been using carbon. And carbon has its own strengths because it is the easiest. There's a material in the periodic table which can take the energy to any place at the most convenient form. So it is bad, but it is not completely irrelevant because it has got its own advantages. So to replace that carbon into completely out, it is possible. It is not impossible. So even Dr. Mantra has been lining out how he is going to make net zero carbon by 2040 with his all the ideas and the technologies available. But the world knows that even today, the technologies are not matured enough to go to that so fast. That's why they're talking about 2050s and some people even 2070s. So please appreciate, carbon is not a bad thing. So that in that premise only the Lancetech works, because we want to recycle the carbon as much as we can using the green renewable sources, so that the carbon can be preciously used in all the essential things which we need, where carbon has to be there. So it all depends on where the carbon is coming from. Instead of saying carbon is completely untouchable or something like that, it is one of the very important chemical in the periodic table, which has helped us to revolutionize ourselves. We have come a long way from using carbons. Yeah, as I said in the previous slides, power can be generated without carbon. Even aviation turbines or even fuels can be made without carbon, but it is very difficult to make chemicals without carbon. So carbon is a very important constituent to carry the energy to the place where you need. So it is and also the very easy form of transferring the carbon. Energy is carbon. So it is the carbon and the chemicals which are used on a day-to-day life. Anything you name, a pet bottle or the cosmetics we use, the detergents we use, the fabrics we use, they all need carbon. So completely eliminating the carbon is possible, but it is not going to be economical, at least in near foreseeable future. And we are used to certain civilization, and so we all need certain chemicals to live, and we cannot go back to our 2 centuries beyond, where the industrial revolution has not taken place or going by the cards. We can't do that. So we have to get to reasonable use of carbon, and a judicious use of carbon is what is going to make the whole world more sustainable and more balanced. At the same time, protecting our environment and giving a future which our future generations can live in conjunction with the natural resources, whatever is available in the world. With this idea, so when Dr. Simpson thought about it, next slide, please. He was developing the technology and the microbes. Gopi, can we get to the next slide? So, as I said, this is the carbon is essential in our opinion, and it all depends on where the carbon is coming from. We don't want to encourage anybody digging more of carbon from the ground. We want to use the carbon which is available above the ground. That means recycling the waste, taking the industrial gases, converting them into useful products. That is the mission of Lancetech, and that is what Dr. Simpson dreamt about, and he was ably supported by other engineers and scientists, headed by Dr. Wolgren, who was also one of the pioneers in designing plants which can convert these waste material into valuable products. And the next slides, please. So instead of talking too much about the peripheries, getting close into the technology, this is how the technology is working. Suppose, as I mentioned, it's all started with a steel mill off gas. So any industrial off gases, you know, it is a pollutant. It is full of content. Slowly, please. It has a lot of contaminants. So the first and the foremost step is to clean up the flue gases or the off gases coming from industry. For example, if we take a refinery of gas, like carbon dioxide, which is coming from the heaters or on the boilers, it contains so many other components which are not very easily which can be converted. And also this technology or this is a gas fermentation technology using microbes, and it uses a biocatalyst. So as I said, I mentioned about merging the biology or the microbes and putting them into industrial use. That is what is this technology about. So when you take the off gases or the waste gases, it will have so many contaminants. And what they have done is they have analyzed various waste gases and devised systems and chemicals to eliminate those contaminants, and that is what is the cleanup step is about. The cleanup steps takes care because we are going to subject these gases to living organisms which are there in the bioreactor, or the biocatalyst is a living organism. So when you are going to use this, it has to be the stuff or the gases should be contaminant free. So the first and the foremost step is the gas cleanup. And in fact, they have speciated so many chemicals, and they have found ways to mitigate the effects of those contaminants on the microbes. And they have also, the gas cleanup step includes all the essential requirements that will clean up the gas so that it can be, the microbes can convert them into useful products. When we talk about the microbes are going to be anaerobic microbes. So they are averse to oxygen. They don't like to see any oxygen. And if you subject these anaerobic microbes, they get killed. They simply get, they can't exist on an oxygen atmosphere. So the gases which are coming from the industrial off gas, we has to be completely removed from oxygen. And that is the first and the foremost step. Now coming to the microbes as such, how do they live? The microbes, they can digest some of the gases like carbon monoxide and hydrogen. And in this digestive process, they can convert the carbon monoxide into ethanol. And that is how the microbes live. And this is like putting the microbes into an action of converting the waste gases like carbon monoxide and converting them into ethanol. In this process, when they start digesting the carbon monoxide, they also eat or consume carbon dioxide, and they convert that carbon dioxide also eventually to ethanol. But to live or to breathe or to start the process of digestion, they need certain carbon monoxide content, and also hydrogen can also be another source for them to exist. So these microbes, to sustain, to live, they need carbon monoxide and hydrogen. So even if your industry of gases has only carbon dioxide, not a problem. There are processes which can convert carbon dioxide into carbon monoxide. So that is, preferably we want to use a green hydrogen to convert the carbon monoxide, and it's a very proven process. Any reverse shift converter can convert the carbon dioxide from to carbon monoxide, and that gas, that is the synthetic gas, which will contain carbon monoxide, little hydrogen, and carbon dioxide, is a very good feedstock for these microbes to convert into ethanol. So what happens is, when the gas gets cleaned up and gets into a required composition of carbon monoxide, hydrogen, and carbon dioxide, and if it is contaminant free, it is put into the fermentation step. Here, this process, the uniqueness of this process is unlike the enzymatic fermentation. This gas fermentation is a continuous process. It is the bioreactor, we call, or the fermentation step happens in a reactor that is called the bioreactor. That is where the engineering plays a role. The carbon monoxide, hydrogen, carbon dioxide reacts with the microbes and they get converted into ethanol. And it all happens in an aqueous medium. As most of you know, dissolving carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide into water is not easy. It requires, the mass transfer is so poor, you need a lot of mass transfer enhancements like reactor internals, proper contact of the gas and the liquid, so that the effectively the carbon monoxide and hydrogen and carbon dioxide get converted into ethanol. See, this is a single step. That is, when the gas passes passes through the bioreactor, it has to completely get converted into the ethanol. Otherwise, if it doesn't get converted, it will again go as a carbon emission. But in a real world, it is impossible to convert all the carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide in a single step into ethanol. So what we do is, if required, we recycle using compressors back into the system so that it can take convert completely into the carbon, can be completely converted into ethanol. But what happens is, in most of the industrial off gases, if you see, or all of you know, that it is not going to be carbon dioxide alone. It has to have a lot of nitrogen also, because most of us are using air as the medium or the combustion source. So it will have a lot of nitrogen. So, but these microbes are insensitive to nitrogen. They can tolerate nitrogen. So, but the problem is, the nitrogen will build up as an inert over a period of time. So it has to be, you have to bleed this. So the only way to maintain the plant size in a reasonable economical this thing is to bleed the nitrogen. That is how it is taken care. And the required composition of carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide and hydrogen is maintained by bleeding. But if there are sources, there are pure carbon dioxide source. For example, you are going to have a carbon capture technology to abate pollution. Then you can take carbon dioxide and then convert that into a synthetic gas, synthesis gas, using reverse Varadarajan shift. There you can go for 100% carbon reduction. So the carbon reduction in this particular technology will depend on the feedstock and the composition of the feedstock. Otherwise, this process can even go for 100% carbon capture, but the downside is the amount of other constituents in the gas which will contain. So it is the one step is the industrial off gases. But we don't stop. This process also can take waste, like municipal waste or any waste, biomass, agri waste, or bahas, or whatever is considered as a waste. Through a process of gasification, this can convert the biomass or the waste into carbon monoxide, hydrogen, and carbon dioxide, and then it can be fed into this bioreactor, and you can get the ethanol product. So this process is feedstock agnostic. It can take any feed, but the feed has to be properly treated and mostly waste. It is not, we don't need a feedstock. We don't say we need only this API. I see when I started my career in MRL, I say this unit is designed for this crude only. I don't want to touch any other crude. No, this process is designed to take only waste. So we are a sort of a corporation to clean the world's waste into a useful product. So that is how it works. And in this mission, one good thing about this company is they have invested heavily in this country. And even the gasifier they have picked is from one of the gasifier partner they have, that's called Ankur Gasifier. They are located in Vadodara, and they are also working with Indian Institute of Science for increasing the composition of the gas. So the good thing about this company is that they invested heavily in this country for reasons better known to them, because they think that this is a land where they can, because in my previous company, we used to call China as the land of honey and milk. But this company believes that India is the land of milk and honey. And can you get one step back, please? I have to stop something more on. Sorry. Yeah, thank you. So this they can take any waste and convert that into ethanol. So when after the bioreaction, it goes to India separation. Normally, if it depends on the product which we make. Typically, this microbes, that is we call microbe 1, they can only make ethanol. But we have also microbes 2, microbe 3, microbe 4, so they can make chemicals. So depending on the chemicals we make, we have a separation. And once it is separate, normally the separation is distillation as we use in the chemical in the petrochemicals or chemical industry. So normally we follow a step of distillation. Then it goes to the storage. For example, if it is ethanol, we can get into any grade you like, and typically it is made to the BAS ethanol spec, which will directly get into the gasoline blend. But what it comes out of the fermentation step is only 3% ethanol. Main problem is if the ethanol concentration builds up in the bioreactor itself, it is not possible for the microbes to sustain their existence. So they get killed. So it cannot allow this to go above a certain. So the main thing comes here is to control the microbes in a condition which will convert or digest the waste gases to make the product. So that is the trick, or that is the trade of this. So, and in that process, you cannot allow even the product to build up in the reactor. It is like any catalytic process. So if the products builds up, the equilibrium shifts. So same as this, but here the problem is in a catalytic process, it is reversible. Here the microbes dies because it is a biocatalyst, so it cannot exist. And these guys have also found a way how to sustain and grow these microbes. So they inject a lot of nutrients, they inject a lot of pacivators and all those things, and a controlled base. It is a very well demonstrated, proved technology how to survive these bacteria and put them into useful use. And in fact, they supply this microbes in a freeze-dried condition. And then once it is come into the plant, then they have to activate the microbes. That is called the inoculation step. It is like bringing a dead man to life. So they take so much care. They inject, what they have done in this is they have converted a chemical industry into a hospital type environment where they make the dead creatures to bring life and they put the live creatures into this. That is the level of precision and the knowledge technology which is required to make these microbes work to you or to plate your tubes or to produce what you like. That is what this technology can bring to us. So and also just if you see the diagram, we have said we can even recycle. Yeah, endlessly we can use carbon back into the system by appropriate and also incidentally, what happens is these microbes they grow and also they die. So you have to bleed the microbes. You cannot keep on allow. It's not one-time use. So it is you have to bleed the microbes. Okay? They have put some processes to take the waste or the biomass, spent biomass, and convert this biomass and they dry the biomass, and this biomass can be used as a protein substitute. Right now, in most of the industrial worlds, even in China, this is used as animal feeds, and also India has certified these proteins can be used for chicken feed and other things. So nothing in this process gets wasted. It's all coming, it's recycled back. So this is about, in short, the technology, and this is what it and the heart of this is the biocatalyst, as I said, and that is how this technology works. And I've also said in a light green color, we have said 2. What it means is the biocatalyst 2. The biocatalyst 2 is the modified biocatalyst. It is genetically modified, and these microbes can even, instead of going into the step of several chemical process, they can easily produce products like MEG, acetone, ethanol, ethylene, many chemicals. Right now, they have done about IPA, that is isopropanol alcohol, MEG, then acetone, ethylene are the products which are available for commercialization. But the ethanol plants are built; they are already commercialized. But these chemical plants are under the commercialization program. So this is the beauty of this particular technology, that you can change the microbes and still make the chemicals you want. That is how the whole process works. And moving further, this is not just a theory or not in a lab. Next slide, please. This has been put into various plants and it is a lot of plants are built. In China, there are 3 plants working currently. In India, as we speak, IOCL Panipat is commissioning their 3G ethanol plant using this gas fermentation technology, using industry. There's PSA off gases or the SMR hydrogen PSA off gas and convert them into ethanol. And so far, next slide. You can go to the next slide. Yeah, they have captured more than 200,000 tons of carbon dioxide into fuels, which are especially ethanol. And there are 3 commercial plants running. And the plant, the next slide, please. The plant which is coming, and these are continuous, by the way. It is not an intermediate process where you, as I said, it runs 365 days a year. So as long as it is. But what it needs is once in 90 days, because you are using very dirty gas, you may need a shutdown, clean up the whole bioreactor with some hot wash or some chemical cleaning once in a while. But we have seen some of the plants in China, it runs 365 days, even without an intermediate shutdown. It all depends on the class which is used. Otherwise, this is a very continuous process, unlike the enzymatic fermentation. The next slide is the plant which has come up. This is in Europe. This is again Belgium. This is a steel mill of gas. converting that into ethanol. This technology brings is, see, the earlier people used to call verticals. I'm only into chemicals. I'm only into steel. I'm only in cement. But the technology, this particular technology can fit into any of those industrial off gases. In fact, steel mill off gases are the most preferred because, as all of you know, the blast furnace gas or the they call it now as a basic. Basic furnace is a blast furnace. So they contain carbon monoxide. They are ideal feed for this. So decarbonization in a steel sector is much easier with this, and so it is because the gases which are available from the steel mills are easy pride for this particular microbes for existing, and this plant will be commissioned in this quarter, and it is in the advanced stage of commissioning. So the story goes is that this is not a theory, this is not a lab scale experiment, it is not a demo plant, it is commercial plants, and a lot of plants are coming up in India also. That as we speak, these plants are coming worldwide. I'm going to the next slide. Yeah, see, this is another plant which is in Japan, which is using only municipal solid waste. So this is the CQC is a biorefinery which is taking all the municipal waste, and it has in partnership with Sumitomo Chemical Company. They are converting all the municipal waste into bioethanol, and right now it is on a demo stage, and now it is getting converted into a commercial plant, and they are building up a 50,000 tons commercial plant using the waste, municipal waste, and that is about the CQC plant. And about the global presence, probably next slide, please. Yeah, already I mentioned there are 3 plants working in China, and the Indian Oil at Panipat refinery is building up this plant with the refinery of gases. MRPL has embarked on an ethanol plant using biomass. They are going to have the cotton stock. They are not going to be putting up this plant in basing refinery based gases. They are going to use it based on agri waste, that is the cotton stock. So this is there is a gasifier. So Ankur, as I mentioned, is going to be supplying the gasifier, and that plant is progressing. And as I said, Suncor in Canada, they have put up a demo plant, and they are also going for a commercial plant. So these plants are coming up throughout the world. In fact, what this company has demonstrated is there are a lot of doubts whether the gas fermentation will work or the microbes can sustain in this. Is that is very well demonstrated with so many plants coming up, because it's all very genuine, very honest questions. It's not easy, but they have made the tough thing, which is with all these engineering challenges into reality. So that is about the technology. But moving further, as I said, the ethanol can be used as a very key constituent for many of the other processes. So ethanol can be easily dehydrated into ethylene, and you can convert that ethylene into by oligomerization into paraffins, and you can make aviation fuels, or you can make synthetic fibers, or you can use it can be used as a building block, and it is a starting point for multiple pathways, and we are into the ethanol, and also I'm sure when Partha talked about, he was talking about methanol. Okay, maybe as I represent a company of ethanol manufacturing, maybe I will say, oh, ethanol is the best, but the reality is all these chemicals will be the future starting point for all these chemical industries. without completely depending on the conventional fossil fuel feedstocks. That is what it is emerging, and technologies are progressing to make chemicals which are of future this thing. And moving further, see, this company also has embarked on a mission. The next slide, please. Carbon smart approach. So that is what it is see, like we have seen how we can be carbon free. Then we know it is very difficult to make the fuel carbon free. So how do we do this? That is why this company has invented a technology called SAF. Next slide, please. That is convert this ethanol into sustainable aviation fuel. That is, or it is called alcohol to jet. So that company is called LancerJet. It is fully owned by LancerTech and other partners like Shell, Suncor, and other, and DOE. By the way, US government has invested heavily on these technologies. So they are looking at these technologies and the technologies of future. So DOE has invested heavily on these companies. And what they do is they take the ethanol from the LancerTech, and they go. The first step is dehydration, and we work with our partners. There are a lot of dehydration technologies, and one among them is the Technips hummingbird technology for dehydration of ethanol. And from ethanol, they make ethylene, and from ethylene, then they oligomerize ethylene into aviation fuel. And once it is oligomerized, it has to be hydrogenated. And then you have to isomerize the paraffins, because all of you know that paraffins is very highly paraffinic stuff, can be the freezing points or cold flow properties are not good enough. So you have to isomerize. So the paraffins are isomerized into aviation fuel. Here, the most important thing is this: a lot of people can offer it. Because why I brought up this slide is this SAF is possible with a starting block like ethanol. It can be methanol or anything. It can be, and there are a lot of licensors offering this. But the ethanol, because it has got less amount of oxygenate in it compared to methanol, it becomes an easy feedstock, because it is, you are converting a 2 carbon fuel into 11 carbon fuel. So it is, and that too which contains oxygen. So it is not going to be that economical, but there is a way to make this, and this is the one proven process to make synthetic aviation fuel. And this is approved by IATA. The ASTM has approved this, even blending up to 50%. They have approved, and in fact, LancerJet has flown the jet from across Atlantic using the jet fuel produced from this, and they have run many trials. So it is not one transatlantic flight. And in fact, in the slides, the next slide, you will see Richard Branson, the Virgin Atlantic owner, traveling with our CEO, Jennifer Holgreen, crossing the Atlantic using this fuel. So this process is catalytic. It is not any enzymatic or microbes-based technology. It is conventional catalytic technology. And this LancerJet is the company which can offer this technology for, and there are many others. So it is not LancerJet, but this is why I brought up this last time. There was a question: how do we make SAF? So I thought I will share this with the group. And moving further. See, as I said, the carbon smart is what this company is embarked on. So we work with a lot of brand owners like Mebel. Mebel is a brand which is mostly in Europe, and they make a lot of synthetic this thing. They also make a lot of cosmetics. So we have worked exclusively with Mebel and various. They have taken the ethanol produced from this gas fermentation, converted them into MEG. From MEG, they have converted into PET bottles, and they have been using it as a green source. And also the Zara and Lululemon, they have made fabrics, and they have started branding these as a green fabrics. So we work closely with these brand owners and convert this ethanol convert this ethanol into various day-to-day fuels and chemicals of daily this thing. And we have also they worked with L'Oreal, then Borealis, they make nice shoe soles. So that is also using ethanol. I talked to you about the sustainable aviation fuel SAF, flying a flight across the Atlantic. This is Richard Branson along with Jennifer Holgren crossing the Atlantic. And also they work with Unilevers to make some surfactants and detergents using the MEG and converting them into this. So, and also they have also, as I said, this company has invested heavily in India. So they have worked with India Glycol to convert this ethanol into MEG, and that is how the green. In fact, India Glycol is a company which is making MEG through ethanol, and they are mostly agri-based, and unlike other MEGs which are coming from industrial, or fossil fuels, they try to make MEG. So they are supposed to be one of the green technologies available to make MEGs and other chemicals. So moving forward, this is the carbon smart approach. That is taking the carbon, recycling it, putting it into a value, converting them into valuable chemicals, and then all the waste should be recycled back. And that is how the circularity or the recycle process. Thereby, you don't create an impact to this thing. No impact on land or biodiversity. So it is all cyclic. That is what the carbon smart approach. Whether it is for cleaning chemicals, whether it is fabrics, whatever it is, we believe in carbon circularity, and that is how we wanted to position this technology. And moving forward, we don't want to stop only at next slide, please. Yeah, we can even skip this slide, and we can go to the next one. They say these are all some of the fabrics. This thing. So let's stop here. Yeah, this is for a short time. This is the way how the ethanol is getting converted into detergents. See, you take the ethanol, make it dehydrogenate using any of those technologies available, including the Johnson jet, and convert it into ethylene oxide. And ethylene oxide, you can convert it into PET bottles, you can use into the surfactants and all those things. These are all very proven, and already these plants are existing. So it is not a big deal about it. So they can be used for the detergents as well. Then the next slide, please. Sorry. Yeah. The next one. Okay. Let's stop here. Okay. This is about PET. MEG can be used to make PET. So of course, it gives. You cannot create a cyclic molecule like paraxylene or something, because with these microbes, it is very difficult. So only you can convert the aliphatic side of the chemistry. We are not progressed to the aromatic side of the chemistry. So we can only convert 30% of the carbon into in this process. But still, it is in European regulations. These are all branded as green products. See, it all depends on the law of the land or how the various countries look at it. So in all these things, Europe is the front runner in classifying what is green and what is brown and all those things. So they have classified this as a green product. But the effective carbon saving can be only 30% because the aromatic side has to be still there, which is constitutes about 70% of the PET requirement. And moving further, I mentioned about the source. Yeah, this is one important topic I want to talk. See, I said the microbes, we have graduated or we have put the ethanol microbes into industrial use. Our next mission is to generate or produce other microbes like take next slide, just put us, yeah, okay. Yeah, see, the microbes too will make directly acetone. That means it need not go through a ethanol step to make acetone or isopropyl alcohol or one more this thing, please. Next, MEG we can make, and also ethylene we can make. So these might, by modifying this, the same reactor, same process conditions, same feedstock, it can generate different chemicals depending on your end use. But the separation system has to be designed, or it has, because see, isopropanol alcohol is not having the same boiling point as the ethanol. So your distillation should have the flexibility to separate out the isopropanol alcohol. As long as you have the facilities, downstream facility, the technology is there to convert this product. So in a way, you can even use your waste gases and produce what you want instead of saying, oh, I have only one product to sell. If this product doesn't sell, what do I do? So that is the amount of flexibility these microbes can get to you. So now let's see how these guys have done this. How is it's possible to do this? Now, the next slide, Gopi, please. So it is a program. So it is like they have set up a bio factory. So they have got so many people working behind the scene, so many biologists working day in and out, and there is like a workshop. They generate these microbes and see that how these microbes react, how these microbes can live, what are the side effects of these microbes, how to reduce this. For example, the first step in the ethanol manufacturing is acetate. If you make only acetate, nobody is going to make that. It is a very dirty stuff. So we have to quickly convert that acetate into ethanol. So the microbes should be capable of converting into this. That is what is getting done by having a workshop type environment. Workshop means don't think that it is all smithy and all this kind of. The microbes are put into the workshop to genetically modify them and make it in such a way that this can work on a plant and they can survive. So the next slide, please. The following slide. Yeah. So the first step is discovery of the microbes, and we use a lot of the CAD design to convert these microbes into and understand them. So these are all well understood using the computer-aided programs, and the company has created a synthetic biology platform whereby the microbes are systematically converted into the as a catalyst, as a biocatalyst, which can be put. So it is a combination of just the biology, the advanced techniques of computer-aided designs, the artificial intelligence, and also each and every microbe is engineered to the requirement using this synthetic biology platform. That's how they created this network for sustenance of these microbes and for the microbes to do what is expected to do in a plant. This is in short about how these microbes are getting into the as a catalyst into the plant. So moving further, so it's a time to rethink about carbon. So we don't call carbon as completely waste. We think still carbon can be judiciously used, and we wanted to create technologies to create a world which uses the carbon judiciously. Okay, that is more or less the end of my talk, I think. And there are a few slides which I kept depending on the time. So I don't know how we are doing on the timing. I think it is getting approaching to 12 o'clock. I don't want to test a lot of people's patience. So Gopi,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
how are we doing on the time?
You still have some 5-10 minutes time, sir. Then we can move on to question and answer, sir.
Okay, so no problem. So it is the rethinking or re-refining. So we don't say, as I mentioned, we don't believe that the carbon is going to come to a stop. So there are competing technologies coming up. The other sources of energies are building up. And it is good, and we welcome those changes, and we effectively merge. For example, when we convert the carbon dioxide, we want green hydrogen, so that the green hydrogen plays a vital role instead of a conventional fossil fuel hydrogen. See, the end of the day, if you look at it, it all depends on the life cycle analysis. There are a lot of programs. Europe has embarked, and US also has embarked on this life cycle analysis. The life cycle analysis is one study which will give you what is the carbon utilization, how much of the energy and how much is the product looks carbon utilizing. So these type of life cycle analysis are done before branding any product as a green, or whether it is what is its value to the human beings. So that is what is being judged by this life cycle analysis, and especially one good thing about this is all these things could not have happened but for a very systematic thinking of this company. Today, this company is not one, though the inventor is one single person and the designer is one single or handful of engineers, it has got a lot of government relationship people, policy thinkers. There are about 300 and you'll be imagine there are about 400 people working around the world in this company. There are hardly 50% of them are real biologists and the engineers. Rest of them are all for working with the government, working with the people, like policy people who help the governments, the countries which are deficit of fuel or fossil fuels, to work with them to convert. So the company has invested heavily on those type of people so that they can bring the reality. What is there, the government thinking, what are their challenges, and put those challenges into the scientific platform and design your product in such a way that it will be useful end of the day to the human chain. That was the intent of this company, and it grows with that attitude. And moving further, there are not much, maybe it's only a repetition of what it is. So I think I can stop at this point and take any questions because it is, it's a long talk. I don't want to keep on talking without hearing you guys.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir. We now keep the floor open for question answers. Participants, you may please unmute and ask your questions, please. Shankar, go on, Shankar.
No, not it. Please go ahead.
Sir, yeah, this is Ramesh. It was definitely a great presentation. People like me, chemical engineer who worked in refining, this presentation looks like so positive that the life has come again to the refining industry or even the other chemical industry. So my question very specific is, to the MRL which you already worked. Let's say there is an FCC unit which produces carbon monoxide from the regenerator. I think currently they have got a CO boiler. So, you were talking about CO is an important one for this particular technology, right? And the government is mandatory to make 10% ethanol in fuel blending. So how is your suggestion for CPCL or others to look at this technology to, jumpstart an ethanol production and blend into fuel?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, very interesting question. And the right now they wanted to be when they come for the first time, they wanted to work with the gases which are much more cleaner than the FCC off gas or a CO boiler, yeah, or a FCC flue gas. Because FCC flue gas contains a lot of particulates, especially so the particulates are very difficult to remove completely, though you have all cyclones, etc., etc. Still, when you open a CO boiler, you see a lot of catalysts. So it is not that it is impossible. It is possible to convert all the CO from the carbon from the FCC flue gases. But as I said, the microbes need little bit hydrogen also. So to the carbon monoxide, though it is an important constituent for the digestive system of the microbes, it needs little bit of hydrogen. So end of the day, it needs little bit of hydrogen. So the proper combination of carbon monoxide, hydrogen, and carbon dioxide, yes, it can be done. There is no doubt about it. But only thing is we have to see how upstream cleanup, all those things have to be done. And also to answer your question, how these refineries can be benefited, I think except CPCL, because you had some other this thing, they have worked with the Center for High Technology and they have developed feasibility studies for various refineries. And that's how Indian Oil was the first earlier one to pick on this to put the plant. So they have worked with almost all the refineries and developed plants, how they can move. And in fact, most of them are, I was told, I don't know, maybe I am not, they are waiting for the first unit to come on stream. So once that plant comes on stream, probably others may show more interest. And it is not 10% now, it is 20%. They have mandated ethanol blending of 20%. And so that is another thing. And also, please be aware, we are competing with the agriculture industry, which is one of the lifeblood. And the government will show importance to the agriculture industry, but they are not ignoring these industrial chemicals like 2G ethanol or 3G ethanol. They are also looking at it. So they will be soon announcing certain subsidies for 2G ethanol and 3G ethanol. Once those subsidies are coming to effect, then it will become much more attractive to invest on these things.
Pradeep, you can please unmute and ask your questions, Pradeep. Yeah, Pritish, you can please unmute and ask your questions. Please unmute and ask your questions.
Hello, sir. Actually, Varadarajan sir, I posted the questions twice. One is regarding the reactor type. What kind of reactor is used for this conversion process? And second, what is the economics to scale?
We work. See, now we have. Let's talk about the reactor first. Okay, first question. The reactor is called the bioreactor. It is nothing but a mass transfer medium. It is like it's a packed column. It's a stainless steel reactor, as you know. It is carbon dioxide, which is highly corrosive. This thing. So we use stainless steel right now, but we also have other plants to convert the metallurgies and other things. But it's a packed column, and when the microbes travel from top to bottom, the gases go from bottom up, and thereby the mass transfer happens from the gas to the liquid stream, where the microbes exist in the liquid stream and convert them into a product. So that is about the reactor part. Scale up, we are done. See, there are about 20 demo plants available, and also commercial plants are available at 50,000 tons. And even this Ghent plant is 65,000 tons per annum plant. So the scale up is not a big issue right now. But having said this, we want to keep this whole thing in a reasonable size. We don't want to keep on increasing the size for a various reasons, because we are, after all, we are dealing with a living bacteria or living microbes. So these microbes can change its characteristics or its ability to make a constant product anytime. If there is a unknown small amount of contaminant comes, it can come and cause. But that time we don't want the entire plant to go shut down. So we want a multiple train concept. And also that is why mostly we will be embarking on a very optimum capacity, and then scale. Then we will having a multiple trains instead of going for a bigger and bigger plants to utilize the scale of economies. But that is for the bioreactor part. But the upstream, downstream, they are all very proven processes, like an adsorption or a deoxygenation step or a distillation. There is no issue of any scaling. Does it answer your question?
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Pratish, go on, Pratish.
Yeah. Hello, sir. Thank you very much for the informative session. Just one question. There is a lot of talk about, zero carbon. As you said, carbon is precious. So we should and it's required for many things in our day-to-day things. So, and we should use it judiciously, as you said. So considering the cost, the economic viability, what is your gut feeling, like, let's say in 30 years from now, 2050, let's say, how much reduction realistically in carbon we will be achieving, vis-a-vis where we are today?
No, see, we don't want, I don't want to guess anything in that, okay, all will achieve zero carbon or net carbon. Yes, even if, that is why the life cycle analysis plays a very major role. So it is possible to reduce the carbon footprint, but getting into net zero will be a very tall order dream, which will require a lot of investments and all those things. Just for the comparison, if you compare even the product which is now commercially proven ethanol, if you can make through an agriculture ethanol, it will be like a 50 rupees a liter today in today's standards with the plants available. Whereas if you want to use any 2G plant or a 3G plant, it will double. It is in a scale, it will become 100 rupees a liter. So it is expensive right now, but this industry cannot start without a preliminary subsidies, and that is why working with the governments and government agencies is essential. So we cannot start just like that without those supports. This thing. So once these things get matured, we expect the cost of production of these to come down. And another important thing is right now when we go to the downstream chemicals, it is through a very conventional step, like you make ethanol, dehydrogenate, take the ethylene, and then make it into petrochemical products. Instead, if we can make those chemicals directly, then the cost of production will come down substantially, because we are taking a gas which is of zero value, or it is a waste gas. But what is going to be the governing thing on the cost of production is the hydrogen. So if you see the hydrogen has to be a green hydrogen or a source where it is going to come. The technologists are speaking about getting hydrogen $1 a kilo, though it is about 6-7 today prevailing, but very effectively we can make it at $4 a kilo with the fossil fuel. But the technology is improving to $1 a kilo. If that happens, if we get to, that is what even some of the companies are talking about, getting $1 per kilo for hydrogen. If that happens, and these processes will be definitely much more economical, and even if the crude of say 100 and 120 barrels, this recycle process will be able to compete with that. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Shankar, sir, please go on, sir.
Yeah, it's an extremely interesting presentation. Coming back to your reference on the sewage, sludge gasification and then production of ethanol, can you throw some numbers in terms of, say, a 60,000 tons per annum ethanol plant? What sort of an investment will be required? Whether that is something which is justifiable? And the extension of the same question is, can it be used for the sewage sludge? You know, in Europe, they are drying sewage sludge and incinerating, and that gas is again having carbon, and your process is ideally suited for aliphatic hydrocarbons, which is in this case is also valid true. So I'm trying to develop some of the sewage sludge based processes where I would like to know what sort of investment will be required for a 60,000 tons ethanol plant based on this.
Yeah. 60,000 tons ethanol plant in today's this thing, which is coming up in Europe, which is of close. This thing is about $120 million, which is like 1,000 crores, for example, right? That will be the cost for the gas fermentation step. Now you were asking about your question was about converting the sludge. See, what happens is in the gasification process, as you know, the byproduct is the biochar. The biochar is today, the biochar is not having much use. Though everybody says it's a very precious commodity, it can be used as farming, it can be used for many applications. Still, the usage of biochar is not completely understood, and it has not. If there is a viable use for biochar, maybe this. We cannot do anything with the biochar. For manufacturing ethanol, we need only the gas. So that gas can be fermented. There is no problem about it. But the utilization of the biochar has to be seen. And that is what I think that Prespol and all these companies, they are working closely with the government and us to make how this biochar can be used in a very effective manner. So if we find a very good use for this biochar, these processes can be made very economical, but the investment cost will be on this magnitude.
Sir, Shankar sir, your mic is muted.
See, my question is different. See, in Europe, they are drying the sewage sludge and not gasifying. They are burning it. They're burning it, and then they take the residue solid for further processing. But the flue gases contain a lot of CO2. I'm talking about that. There's so many plants are existing in Europe. I would like to use those gases.
Yes, no problem. Yeah. Already they are putting up one. Nextchem is putting up a plant. Yes. Nextchem is putting up a plant in Spain, or I don't know which country. They are getting into engineering phase. So they are putting up a plant to convert those gases into ethanol. Yeah.
Any contact detail of yours? I can reach you out offline.
I will share you, Mr. Shankar. I will share you. Okay. I will share you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Yogesh Manore, you had a question. Please go on, Yogesh.
Yes, sir. First of all, thank you very much, sir, for this informative session. and it was very knowledgeable for me. So what I remember, I'm working in a Sulzer as a proposal and sales engineer. In 2013 and 14, I have working on one project where LanzaTech is in association with one of the company in India, and they are setting up a plant in coordination with the various municipal corporations in India, and produced synthesis gas from the wastage. So fortunately I got opportunity to visit plant here in Pune, and I understand from that company that LanzaTech and this company was in discussion with various municipal corporations here in India. But unfortunately, after that, I don't know. We have not received any project from those. So though still this activity is going on, I just want to check for that.
Yeah, with the commercial success of the CQC plant in Japan, we want to get into the municipal MSW sphere also. But see, we right now we want to concentrate on the steel mill of gases and the refinery of gases, and then slowly get into this. But we are not completely slowing down on that, because if you have to gasify a municipal solid waste, you should have some advanced gasification process like oxygen enriched process like that, because the conventional gasifiers may not be able to give you a desired result with this. So we are also working with Ankur to convert some of their gasifiers into enhanced oxygen gasifiers, and also proposing a lot of modifications, and we are working closely with them. And I mentioned about IASC Bangalore, we are going, Dr. Basappa, we are working with him as well to convert some of the municipal waste into effective gasification. This thing. So these things are happening. Once we get a firm ground on this, and Mr. Shankar pointed about this, the Europe plant. So the next come is another company where we are going to work with municipal waste, municipal solid waste. So with this plant's success, probably we will we want to embark on a bigger campaign to get those plants going. So we want to work with them as well. And also we are talking to some already some established companies, because we are a small company. We are 400 people total in the globally. So you appreciate it is very difficult to get to all the sectors. So, but we are making progress, and I believe that we have done substantial work on the gasifiers, and we will be, that is our next area of.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Vasu, you have a question. You may please unmute and ask your questions, please.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah. Please go on. Please go on, Vasu.
Yeah, in case of this hydrogen, when you are looking for the green hydrogen, when the heat, the calorific value of hydrogen itself is high, then how could the hydrogen utilization to make the chemicals, petrochemicals, or the ethanol would be economical?
Yeah, that is why it depends on what is the price of the hydrogen, the green hydrogen. See, that is what is very important. With the green hydrogen, if we are going to get about, see, the world standard today is $3.65. That is what is, people have proven technologies to make up to that. But if you want to get, but there are ambitious programs to get to $2. So the moment you are able to get to $2, whereas from a fossil fuel, it will be about $4.50, depending on which country you are located. So if you are able to get to $1, which is also another one of the key things, that those numbers will make very good economic sense to invest on this type of reverse water gas ship plants to get the chemicals from the carbon dioxide. So that is number one. Number two, see, the carbon dioxide, Mr. Dr. Maitra was talking about mostly on the industrial this thing. So he's saying that I'm not going to touch any fossil fuel and all those things. It may happen. It may be a dream. It may happen. We wish it happens because we want to be also eco-friendly. But the fact is, certain processes are still going to make carbon dioxide. For example, 1G, the fermentation of the food grains, it liberates a lot of carbon dioxide. Even when you take the natural gas from the earth, there are places where the carbon dioxide content is 40%. What do you do with those carbon dioxide? So we cannot just throw them and still say I will be net zero. So we have to have an effective process of carbon utilization for them also. So these processes, though the fossil fuel utilization will come down, these processes are required if you really want to judiciously use carbon. So it is essential that the renewable industries grow together. It is not one particular gas fermentation alone coming up or only green hydrogen plants alone coming up, because green hydrogen alone is not going to answer to all the requirements of the chemicals and this thing. It may be used as fuel if you give a long shot, but it is not that imminent. So you have to also take care of a lot of things. So it all depends. So the industry is just beginning. There is an awareness, there is a consciousness, and so once it comes, it has to grow together. So if the development happens in all the phases in equitable steps, then it will be really, really viable.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Bappi, Kannan, Sriram, any of you guys have a question?
Okay, sir has done very elaborately. It is good enough. We are looking for that. Papi sir also used to say, you have to go for ethanol. So Papi sir will, I think he is looking forward. So he is also told us that sir is taking this thing seminar today. So we are happy that Sir Varadarajan sir to see you in this forum after long time. Thank you, sir, for your valuable lecture that you have given to us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Rajan sir. Yeah. Good afternoon.
Please, Pradeep, please go on.
Rajan sir, one hypothetical question, like lot of R&Ds are going with respect to these microbes and the bio catalysts, right? Yes. So from health and safety point of view, any monitoring is required for the mutation kind of thing and adverse effect to the human race?
Yeah, okay, good question. I think what we have done is we have passed through several the health these things about these microbes, and we have got all the certificates from the required agencies. I'm not able to really say which are those agencies. Maybe I can share it with you on a separate this thing. So from Europe and also in US, we have got all the certifications from these things that any mutation of these microbes is not. And one thing you please understand, they are all anaerobic bacteria. The moment it gets into the atmosphere, it's going to get killed. It cannot sustain on an oxygen. That is one basic fundamental safety we have written in. So this is going to be no impact to any of the environment because they are anaerobic in nature. And also we are not living there. We have got other certifications and other things. So the mere fact that they are anaerobic, they are not going to be alive when it comes to atmosphere. That is one of the challenges, to make the plant completely any oxygen or oxygenate free is what is a challenge for us. So that is why we have to invest both as well as on the microbes as well as on the upstream cleanup processes or cleanup catalysts, which will make the oxygen to zero. So that's why they are inherently safe.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else has a question? One last question before we let Mr. Varadarajan go.
Sir, one question on this technology development, this microbes technology. I learned that you're working with IASC. So how do we make other institutes to adopt to these type of technology so that they can produce that the microbes which you're talking about, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So since you worked in UOP and and what is your suggestions to do more such R&D efforts and technology development in the universities, at least to the second-tier universities?
Yeah, we see, I mentioned about Dr. M.M. Varadarajan doing, see, these microbes are extensively used in wastewater treatment. It is nothing new. So this is the first time we are putting it into converting into a pollution to product or waste into value. So that is where this is first of its kind. Otherwise, these microbes are in various effluent treatment plants and other places, but they are more anaerobic they are aerobic in nature. They are not anaerobic in nature. So these are all very proven. And even as I mentioned to you that in Annamalai University 40 years ago, Mr. Varadarajan with others used to do a lot of work on this, but I don't know where it is all like. So and also the thing is, this is where it is very important. It's a very valuable question, very important question. See, the science has to merge with the technology, and the technology has to merge with the science. So that is where I think Annamalai University being located at one place, it was a golden opportunity for all of us with all the science faculties and the engineering faculties and people who are even interested in arts, agriculture, to merge these science into technology is going to will be of use to the world population or to the world. So that is where those companies, the institutions have to work, and in that it is little unfortunate. The currently even the premier institutes, like very famous institutes, I don't want to mention them. They are working for themselves. They don't want to look at the outside world or see. There may be somebody who is master in, for example, in catalytic process. So he wants to develop that and the center of excellence on that. But looking at it at a larger piece, merging these other science into engineering is what they should think, and they should invest heavily on this type of technologies and groom the people to have a different approach. Because when I joined this company, I thought it's not my cup of tea. I've been a refinery engineer for 40 years. How do I live with these microbes or something? So, but that is, see, even in the medicine field, you see, the bioengineering has completely changed the way the doctors approach the patients, the human beings, or the medicines is treated. Similar thing has to come in the industry, and this is a small opening on that. It has just made a small progress on that, and it has to be carried out to other disciplines and other useful things. Right? So your center, which has got all these resources in a hand, that is where I take a pride in telling about Annamalai University. In fact, I wanted to speak about this technology in this forum because institutions like Annamalai universities are well suited to take, because you have, we were taught organic chemistry by the top-notch chemist at that time. So that is unfortunately, to a large extent, as an individual, I've not taken the full benefit of it. But see, this type of combined university, that is the strength of the American universities, and that is what is seen in institutions like Annamalai University or any other colleges where they coexist with a bioengineering or with a medicine. So there has to be a merger of the science and technology and engineering. So that's what is the future is going to be.
Sir, 1 second, sir. May I request Mr. Bhairavan, R.M. Bhairavan, or professor, to say a few words, sir.
Oh my God.
Our your professor also.
No, I have to stand up now, I think.
Sir, Bhairavan, sir. Sir, R.M.B. sir. I think he's muted, I think. I think he's on mute, sir. Okay, move on. Okay.
Gobi, நீ unmute பண்ணலாம்ல? You can do it la.
இல்ல இதுல வரல.
நீ தான் host, you can do it.
Sir, R.M.B. sir, இருக்கீங்களா?
No problem. We can reach out to him separately.
Okay, no problem.
No,
okay.
No issue. Sorry, I didn't know that R.M.B. is joining.
Sorry, sir. I think we'll. Anybody else has a question? May please ask. Last question. One last question before we wind up this session. NSM sir, Murthy sir.
Thank you very much for wonderful hearing Varadarajan after a long time. And of course, I mean, India is poised for making some new information or even in terms of this kind of a biotechnology to go about. I'm sure it's in a good hand. That's what I can see after hearing his lecture. Thanks to all of you and thanks for making this happen.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sparing your time, Mr. Murthy.
Good day. Thank you.